Under the oppressive heat of the Indian summer, the village of Bharavpur, nestled in the shadow of the dense forest, seemed to shimmer under the scorching sun. The villagers went about their daily routines with a palpable sense of unease, a discomfort that wasn't merely due to the sweltering weather but something far more sinister. Deep within the forest, in a small, dilapidated house, lived a girl named Nisha. She was an enigma, rarely seen and often spoken about in hushed whispers. Those who had caught a glimpse of her claimed she had eyes that gleamed like polished stones, reflecting a predatory sharpness that made one shiver. Nisha was different, she had been born different. Her mother had died during childbirth, leaving her to be raised by her grandmother, an old woman named Kamla, who was as feared as she was respected. Kamla had the reputation of being a healer, a woman who could call upon the spirits and cure the incurable, but there were darker whispers, too. Some said she consorted with dark forces, that her remedies were born of blood and curses rather than herbs and prayers. Nisha's peculiarities had surfaced early in her life. At first, it was subtle. Her ability to remain absolutely still, her unnerving silence, and the way she could track the smallest of movements with those gleaming eyes. But it wasn't long before the villagers discovered her true nature. One day, while playing near the edge of the forest, a group of children found themselves cornered by a venomous cobra. Panic ensued, and just as the snake was about to strike, Nisha stepped forward. The children watched in horrified awe as Nisha's eyes seemed to flicker with an otherworldly light. She hissed, a sound so serpentine it sent shivers down their spines, and without warning, she lunged at the snake, biting it on the neck. The snake convulsed and died almost instantly, its body going limp in her grasp. From that day, Nisha was known as the Red Venom. Years passed, and the legend of the Red Venom grew. Villages began to disappear under mysterious circumstances, always in the dead of night. Their bodies were later found in the forest, lifeless and with peculiar puncture marks on their necks, as if they had been bitten by a snake. Rumors spread like wildfire, and soon everyone in Bharavpur knew to stay away from the forest, especially after sunset. However, not everyone heeded these warnings. Raghav, a local woodcutter, scoffed at the tales. He was a man of brute strength and little patience for superstition. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Raghav ventured into the forest, his axe slung over his shoulder. He needed to gather wood for his hearth, and he refused to be deterred by ghost stories. As Raghav hacked away at a tree, he heard a rustling behind him. He turned, peering into the gloom, but saw nothing. He laughed to himself and resumed his work, but the feeling of being watched persisted. The rustling grew louder, more insistent. Suddenly, Nisha stepped out of the shadows, her eyes glinting in the twilight. Raghav froze, his heart pounding in his chest. "What are you doing here, girl?" he demanded, trying to mask his fear with anger. Nisha said nothing. She simply stared at him, her eyes unblinking. Then, in a swift, fluid motion, she was upon him. Raghav felt a sharp pain in his neck and a burning sensation that spread rapidly through his body. He dropped his axe, clutching his neck as darkness overtook him. The next morning, Raghav's lifeless body was found, the same puncture marks on his neck that had become the signature of the Red Venom. The villagers were terrified. They spoke of curses and dark magic, and some even considered abandoning the village altogether. Kamla, now frail with age, knew it was time to confront the darkness she had inadvertently unleashed upon the world. She had always known that Nisha was special, marked by the spirits, but she hadn't anticipated the extent of her power. Determined to put an end to the terror, Kamla ventured into the forest alone. She found Nisha by the river, her reflection shimmering on the water's surface. Kamla approached her granddaughter with a mixture of love and fear. "Nisha," she called softly, "it's time to come home." Nisha turned to face her grandmother, her expression unreadable. For a moment, it seemed as though she might obey, but then her eyes narrowed, and she bared her teeth, hissing. Kamla realized with a heavy heart that Nisha was no longer fully human, that the serpent within her had taken over. "I'm sorry," Kamla whispered, tears streaming down her face. She raised a small vial, a concoction she had prepared long ago for this very moment. It was a potent poison, a final act of love to end the suffering. Before Nisha could react, Kamla threw the vial at her feet. The glass shattered, and a thick, noxious cloud enveloped Nisha. Nisha screamed, a sound that was both human and inhuman, before collapsing to the ground. The forest fell silent, the only sound the gentle lapping of the river against the shore. Kamla stood there for a long time, staring at her granddaughter's lifeless body, her heart breaking. The villagers of Bharavpur were relieved when the disappearances stopped, but the story of the red venom remained a chilling reminder of the darkness that had once gripped their village. Kamla lived out her remaining days in solitude, haunted by the memories of her beloved Nisha and the curse that had claimed her. Years later, a young girl named Meera, curious and adventurous, found herself drawn to the forest. She had heard the stories, but like Raghav, she dismissed them as mere superstition. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Meera ventured into the forest, her curiosity piqued by the tales of the red venom. As she explored, she stumbled upon an old, dilapidated house. Intrigued, Meera pushed open the creaky door and stepped inside. The house was filled with dust and cobwebs, but on the wall, she saw a series of old photographs. One of them caught her eye, a picture of a young girl with eyes that gleamed like polished stones. A chill ran down Meera's spine as she realized who the girl was. Suddenly, she heard a rustling behind her. She turned, her heart pounding, and saw a figure standing in the doorway. It was Nisha, or what remained of her. Her eyes still gleamed with that predatory sharpness, and she moved with a serpentine grace. Meera screamed, but no sound came out. She stumbled backward, tripping over a broken piece of furniture. As Nisha advanced, Meera felt a sharp pain in her neck and a burning sensation that spread rapidly through her body. Darkness overtook her, and she collapsed to the floor. The villagers found Meera's body the next morning, the same puncture marks on her neck. The legend of the red venom had been reborn, and the terror that had once gripped Bharavpur returned with a vengeance. The forest remained a place of fear and mystery, a reminder that some curses never truly die. The villagers whispered of dark magic and spirits, but no one dared to venture into the forest to confront the darkness. The story of the red venom became a cautionary tale, a warning to those who would dare to venture into the unknown. And so, the cycle continued, the legend of the red venom living on, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked in the heart of the forest. The villagers went about their lives, always wary, always fearful, knowing that the terror could return at any moment. In the end, there was no dramatic confrontation, no heroic victory over the forces of darkness. The story of the red venom remained a haunting enigma, a tale without resolution, a reminder that some evils are beyond comprehension, lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to strike.